Greetings, all, and welcome back to What the Fuck is a reborg podcast. I'm reborg, in here chilling. Boy posted up, sleep on the couch. And I don't know if you're wondering, but why am I live streaming? It's because the internet is crooks, and the video uploaders of the internet, they are horrible creatures. And this happens to be one of the few solutions. Let me get my cancer stick going. A little fast though, yo. Yeah, so we might even get this video blocked, this podcast blocked, because the program I was using was Easy Converter. It was nice. You pick the picture, you pick the file. I picked the picture, the back, the screenshot that I want, the background that I want for the video. Then I pick my audio file. It converts it to a video. I just take it in Tube. It uploaded, no problem. I had no problem loading up, um, uploading my videos or podcasts to YouTube. It was no problem. And then last week I tried to do the shit. And the week before, when I did my video, I had to make an account. No charge or nothing like that. Just make an account. So it was no big deal. So I made the account, uploaded my video, everything went fine. Then I tried it again last week. And because I didn't purchase I didn't purchase an account, they only uploaded 2 minutes of the video. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I tried other sites, and it was buns. It was a total and utter crapshoot. That was, ugh, it was just horrible. Like, I couldn't find those sites. The ones that I did, it was broken down like this. Some of the sites would let me upload it and, make the download for the video, but they wouldn't. YouTube, it wasn't compatible with YouTube, even though it was a MP4 and I was using the right format for it to be uploaded on YouTube. YouTube was like, we can't do the shit. And then another portion of the sites were actually like programs they want you to download and buy. I'm really not going to be downloading programs unless I know it's going to be feasible, this, that, and the third, because I have um, file converter programs on my computer already. And, they didn't work either. So there's no need for me to download this stuff knowing it's going to do the same thing. And the other ones were by purchase. And I'm not. Hell no, that's the beautiful thing about the internet, that you don't have to do a lot of purchasing. A lot of things I could just do on the internet with no problem. Now, I might have just shot myself in the foot and fucked up, all my thievery and pirating that I do online, but fuck it, I don't care. I'll find a way around it. I will survive. Shout out Gloria Gaynor. But that was the issue. That was the issue. And going live probably seems to work. I'll see how this goes out, because I tried a couple of hours ago and it stunk. It wasn't a good. It didn't come out good at all. It just wasn't what the hell I thought it was going to be. It was buns. And after, toying around with YouTube for a little bit, I figured it out, because I'm not going to watch no 10-minute video on something that's, it doesn't take 10 minutes to start doing a video. Why the hell does your video take 10 minutes explaining it? That's full of shit. But let's go ahead and get into these topics. The last time I was up here was the conference finals were going. Golden State dispatched the Trailblazers. The Trailblazers were, on top of being hurt and not experienced, and they were missing some pieces. They still don't have the pieces to make it to a finals, because they need a 3-point shooter in their starting lineup. Bad. And it showed. Like, outside of McCollum and Dame Lillard, they really didn't have anybody that can get a bucket. And when your offense is just, dwindled down to just two players, a good coach like Steve Kerr will actually, he knows how to handle that. It's just two players. Now, if you got multiples, that's when the coach has to really think, which I will dabble into when I get talking about the finals. but they didn't have it. Nurkic was hurt. That's points gone. Um, and this Cantor was hurt. He was playing at probably about 60 or 70% and going through the Ramadan. So not only does your shoulder hurt, and you're already not good on defense, so that makes it worse. Your shoulder hurts, so you can't use those post moves that he does have. And it was just a bad look. It just didn't work at all. So they got Al Farouk Aminu and all that stuff, and he can't do it for you. I'm sorry. He cannot be the third scoring option on any team that plans on making it deep into the playoffs and possibly trying to get a championship. It's just not gonna happen. No offense to Al Farouk, but we know what it is already. So they dispatched them quickly. And then on the other side, on the Eastern Conference, Toronto dispatched the Bucks. Excuse me. Um, that one was pretty much the Raptors defense, which hasn't gotten a lot of credit up until these finals, which I don't understand. What's wrong with the Greek Freak? What's wrong with Chris Middleton? What is going on with the Bucks? He's going to have to learn to do this, that, and the third. Well, he had Kawhi Leonard on him, a two-time Defensive Player of the Year, which is which is very difficult in a day and age where there's not a lot of contact you can have from a defensive standpoint against an offensive player. For him to win it twice, it's something, man. He's still a great defender, probably one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA right now. So, and the fact that the Greek Freak can't shoot, he doesn't go around screens, and he really doesn't have much else other than under the basket and drive to the lane and spin. If you have a short amount of weapons in your offensive repertoire, somebody like Kawhi Leonard could easily, you making it easy for him, and that's just what that was. Danny Green's a good defender, which made it, a little difficult for Chris Middleton to get off. Pascal Siakam's a good defender. Marcus Gasol, also a defensive player of the year, can play that defense. After Lopez went off on him in the first game, Gasol said, okay, make these adjustments, do our thing. Which leads up to the finals. Game one was Thursday. The Raptors won. Draymond say he's the best defender ever. Now with Pascal Siakam scoring 32 and shooting 82%. So, and I don't care about no switch offs and this, that, and the third. He was getting you. And that move he hit him with, where he dribbled up, faked the post, faked the drive to the baseline and went to the middle for the layup. Yeah. That was pretty much the gist of the whole night. That was pretty much the theme for game one. The role players and outside of the superstars for the Raptors played good ball. Van Fleet didn't kill him from the three like he has been doing against previous opponents in the playoffs, but he was still getting buckets, still making himself effective, hitting mid-range, getting to the rim and things like that. Yes, Houston, you can take some mid-range shots and still be effective because a point is a point. Now, three is more than two. But if you miss three threes and this other team got you keep missing threes and you're not getting no buckets, period, yeah, you might want to try getting the mid-range because you're going to need a bucket. You got to get the flow going. Seeing that ball go through the cylinder, boosts your confidence and gets you more comfortable so you can do other things like drive with no problem, with confidence, actually shoot the three because you figured, let me step out a little more and see how hot I really am. But he did his thing. Danny Green hit his open shots. Marcus Gasol got some buckets. One, because the Warriors don't have a center, and I don't even know you Boogie Cousins sit down. It's not that Boogie Cousins stinks or anything. Just hurt. That's just pretty much all there is to it. He hasn't fully recovered and hasn't, got himself together so he can actually be effective. And Gasol saw that and he went in. And the centers that they do have, Jordan Bell and Kevon Looney, they're not offensive threats. So it makes it easier for Marc Gasol to do his thing. I don't have to expunge a lot of energy on the defense end. So offensively, I can do whatever. And I'm bigger than these guys. I could easily put them in the post and give me a bucket. They too worried about Lowry or Kawhi getting off on these pick and rolls. They sagging back, not thinking that I can shoot. That's Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol can hoop. And that's pretty much what it was. And the other players for Golden State, Clay didn't show up. Is he has to adjust because I don't think he's well, that well aware that they were that good defensively. So it's just something you got to get acclimated to quickly because you can't go down 2-0 and then try to recover. You got to right this ship. Game two is very important because they are the away team, so they have to snatch a game in Toronto. Curry did his thing. He did most of what he could do. It wasn't like he could take over the game. When he found his spot and his space to get buckets, he did. And he did a good job. Draymond, those triple doubles are nice, but we need you to get buckets because they were daring you to shoot and you just didn't have the offensive firepower to totally help your team. Because it wasn't like they whooped their ass. It was just like Golden State figured, like, yeah, they got us, towards like the last 5 minutes, and they went in. And Kawhi is Kawhi. He been doing his thing this whole playoff, so that's that. In other news in the basketball realm, LeBron James out here hustling. Heard he got in contact with Kawhi and Jimmy Butler to try to get him over there. And I don't think those are the two dudes you want. Not because they don't fit, but I think they'd be more comfortable beating you while Boy sits over there on the side. I don't know if y'all will hear that, but he is getting his crunch on over there. He's never got up and ate during the podcast, but he's dabbling in kibble right now. But I think those two would be more comfortable playing against LeBron, trying to beat him than joining his team. And then Doc Rivers got fined for answering a question honestly about Kawhi. But that's not no big deal. $50K to a dude that has billions shouldn't be no problem. But that was just a setup. ESPN, y'all lame for that. All NBA teams came out. Clay didn't make one, and Kyrie did. That's a problem. And then Michael Wilbon gonna come out and say, "I should have voted for Clay." Now you should have voted for. It's no need for you to say it now. The damage is done. Dude can't get no supermax because of you, and he deserves it. Clay deserves a supermax, regardless of wherever he goes, whether he stays with Golden State or goes somewhere else. Now this dude got to take portion of what he could get because y'all made the goofy decision of picking somebody who. Come on, man. Like Kyrie's good, but he didn't prove himself to be one of the best in the league. Somebody who deserves a supermax. Now he'll get it, because of that. But yeah, y'all know better than that, man. Tighten the fuck up. In college basketball news, Penny Hardaway got the #1 class. Penny Hardaway got 7 commitments. And I thought that Penny would do good as a coach and as a recruiter, but I thought it would take some time. I didn't think he would put together a class this good in year one. I knew he was going to get James Wiseman because he had been coaching James Wiseman since middle school. And I just knew that connection was too much for anybody to break. I just knew James Wiseman was going to go there. Precious Achiuwa, I didn't see that one coming. I saw Boogie Ellis happening because once Trey Jones decided to come back to Duke, Boogie Ellis was like, nah, I ain't coming off the bench for nobody. I'll take my chances at Memphis and, have a real chance at starting. And that was kind of like a domino effect that affected RJ Hampton, who I'm going to speak on later in the pod in this section. And he just had a good recruiting class. He got players that filled every position, players that can do multiple things. And I'm just hoping the best for Penny, man. I was a Penny Hardaway fan while he was at Memphis State. That's when I first saw him, and I was like, damn, he's 6'7"? That's the point guard? Damn, he's pretty damn good. And in the NBA, he got funky. Too bad the injuries took him away because he could have easily been one of the all-time greats. But shout out to Penny and his assistant, Mike Miller. I've also been a Mike Miller fan for a minute, and I just like to see them getting it in and getting funky like that. And speaking of former players, Juwan Howard got the job at Michigan. Shout out to Juwan. Dude was like a 20-year vet in the league. He was pretty decent at one point, too. Like his first 5 or 6 years, he was pretty good. He made an all-star team and in a competitive 90s basketball time, especially at the power forward position. It was real back then. But he should do a good job at Michigan. It's good that they brought an alumnus there from one of their most popular times. And I think they should stop bullshitting and go ahead and drop those banners because it wasn't something that affected the team. This was a guy who was, I forgot his name, Ed something, but he was paying the players while they were at school, just hitting them with some bread so they can, do some things outside of just a normal what they get with their stipend and things of that order. And man, just drop the banners, man. And it was only, what was it, Weber who only got caught? Yeah. Because the other players weren't even part of the Fab Five, like Lavelle Blanchard and Robert Traylor and Jamal Crawford. Those were the only other players who got caught, receiving money from them. And that shit is just goofy anyway. I mean, I don't blame coaches and players for taking the money because it's real. You need it. They should be paying you any damn way. So that one's that. I think the deadline has come up for players to keep their name in the draft or not. And Kentucky got a good look because Nick Richards, the center, and EJ Montgomery, their power forward, will be coming back. And that'll mesh real well with what they have coming in with the next recruiting class with Tyrese Maxey, Kyle Whitney, Keon Brooks, Johnny Juzang. That's going to be a good look. And I think if they listen and actually work hard and do what they're supposed to, they will be in a better position, not only for just the wins for Kentucky and making a move in the tournament, but your draft stock. Because Coach Cal is not the coach that will, that's going to teach you like all the fundamentals. He's not a John Wooden type of coach or Bobby Knight and all that stuff because you don't have time. You only got 1 year. I can't reteach you all of basketball from from August to when the season about to start in November. But he will take what you do have and turn it into something that NBA teams want. If you got a skill set, he will let it shine, and he will let you know you will have the opportunity to be seen by not only all the public and all college basketball fans, but NBA players too. They have combines and all that stuff. So I think it's a good look that they came back. The backcourt for Kansas came back. Devin Dotson and Quentin Grimes. Lord. Quentin Grimes went back to school just so he could transfer. I know a lot of people aren't going to hear this, that I'm saying this too, but please, man, review. Just look at the coach and the team that you have in your list of schools. If you know that you need the ball in your hands to be effective, do not go to a school that has a returning point guard. Do not do silly shit. Just look, just do further research and further review. Because don't just trust the words of the coaches because they will say and do whatever they have to do to get you on the team. That's just all there is to it. Now, sometimes they don't even give a shit what they do with you, when you get there. But it's just crazy, man. Just pay attention. That's what it is. And if you have handlers, parents, advisors, anything of that nature, make sure that y'all are on the same boat. Now, if you're just trying to get to the league, there's options to it. So that's not an excuse anymore. And you can, at any school, you can make this happen. If you ball, the NBA will see, and they will give you a chance and a look. Look at Ja Morant. That's all I really need. Some of the other players that will be drafted work towards being considered for this. Ja Morant, Jared Culver, DeAndre Hunter. These were guys who weren't highly ranked coming out of high school, and they turned themselves into lottery picks. So just pay attention, do your research, your due diligence, so you can be successful at the end. Because it's all about you. Of course, you want the team to be successful, but if you go to a school and you ain't happy with it fucks everything up. If you're not good, nobody else will be. So just pay attention. RJ Hampton, a top 5 recruit. I already told y'all he reclassified, and I knew he was going to commit early. A lot of the high school basketball recruiting websites were saying like July, but I didn't think that was going to happen because he had to hurry up so he could get to the school. Because June, July is around the time that most of the kids get to the school. But he decided to go to Australia because he said he didn't have to. In other words, he didn't feel like being worried about class and all the other responsibilities that come with going to school. He just want to work on basketball all the time and get paid for it, and that's not a problem. I ain't got no problem with it. Do your thing, RJ, but you're not gonna make it seem like that Australian basketball league is that damn competitive. And that when 80-year-old Andrew Bogut was the MVP most recently. So I don't want to hear that shit about the competitiveness. You just want to go out here and get paid and not have to worry about school and just so you could just focus on ball. Much respect to you, man. Do your thing. I hope the best for you. Cause I can tell you this right now. If Trey Jones would have left, you would have went to Duke. I can tell you that shit right now. What else we got? In high school football news, Julian Fleming, a top wide receiver in class of 20, was it the class of 2020? Yeah, decided to commit to Ohio State. And it was crazy because he just released his final list the day before he made his commitment. And that was crazy that he was able to come up real quickly with that decision. And I ain't got no problem with it. It's Ohio State. He knows that they put up buckets and he knows that they're a fun team and that he doesn't have to worry about getting the ball because that's what Ohio State has been doing. Strong offensive team. It's not like their defense is buns, but they're putting more talent out there on the offensive end than they are the defensive end. And they hoop. Shout out to them. And then another crazy thing that happened with high school football, Zach Evans, who is a lot of sites are considering him one of the best running backs they've ever scouted. And he just released his top five. He's from Houston, Texas, and he doesn't have a Texas school in his top five, which is maybe him trolling. Maybe it's just to keep people off the scent, or maybe he just don't give a fuck. Because I think he got Bama, Ohio State, Auburn, shit, the norm. But for him not to have no Texas team, that's pretty bad. If y'all willing just to let players up out of Texas like that, shit is going awry. Now I don't see that happening much longer, and that with Jimbo Fisher. But Jimbo Fisher is a hell of a recruiter and a hell of a coach. So I don't think Texas A&M is going to be going that much longer not getting players. I just see that when that shit ain't just gonna be happening for too much longer. They're gonna get these players for sure. But Texas, that's crazy, man. I remember there was a time that Texas could let a recruit out of the state and it not even be a big deal because they're gonna reload regardless. That Stogan need that port. But it was just crazy to see that he didn't have no Texas teams up there. And I'm looking forward to see him during like the All-Star season and stuff like that. And maybe they may have a game on or two on ESPN because I want to see him. Because if a lot of them are saying he's a top 5 running back all time in high school, that's some big shit. They saying he's one of the best running backs to come out of Texas since AP. I need to see that shit. Brew McCoy, the motherfucker, the motherfucker who committed to USC, was enrolled at school, taking classes. And once he found out Cliff Kingsbury was not going to be the offensive coordinator or the coach for that team, he left and decided to go to Texas. Now the NCAA gave him clemency or whatever it is, that he didn't have to sit out here and he could just continue on. And he didn't have to take the normal transfer rules. This damn fool talking about going back to USC, talking about he want to go back home. This motherfucker here, this is just out of fucking hand, sir. What the fuck are you doing? This is the same USC team that you didn't want to play for. What the hell is going on in Texas that you wanted to go back to? Because it was obvious a reason that you didn't want to go there because you didn't originally commit and sign it, whatever it is. Yo, anybody got time for that shit, man? Make his ass sit out a year. So damn wishy-washy. That shit is annoying. Plain and damn simple. Got it the fuck out. Quick in baseball news. Carter Stewart, one of the top draft picks. The Braves picked him up. I want to say he was like the 12th pick or something like that. That he was not going to dabble in the Braves farm system. But to go to Japan, he signed a contract in Japan. I can't tell you for how much, but he got a 5-year deal to play straight up professional. And I think he'll be like 24 or 25 when the contract's up, and he'll be a straight up free agent. And for Major League Baseball, which means he can get the ultimate bag right then, and he won't have to wait. We'll see how it goes, because on the surface it looks like a smart decision, but we should wait and see. As Boy takes a blanket that I tried to wrap him in because he was cold, and he gonna hump it during the middle of the podcast. This nigga is in rare form today. I tell you, I don't know what the fuck is going on with Boy. Boy is tripping. He refuses to lay his ass down and enjoy this sultry pod. NFL news: Ndamukong Suh went to the Bucks. We'll see. He couldn't even get 8 sacks playing next to Aaron Donald, so he might just be done. Donovan McNabb is saying he deserves to be a Hall of Famer. I think he missed this class. You'll get in there, Donovan, but you ain't got no rings, which is something that they'll use against you. I think you're a Hall of Famer, and I think you'll get there, but they're not gonna put you over some people. Like, he tried to say that he deserved to be in there over Troy Aikman, and it's hard to say, man. Troy got those rings. He did his thing, and of course, he played on one of the most dominant teams that I had ever seen play football. But McNabb, you'll get in there. You deserve it because you put up good numbers, and you played a long time before T.O. got there, and you were still putting up good numbers. Freddie Mitchell and Hank Baskett and what's the Todd Pinkston and those type of dudes at wide receiver. So just wait. First of all, you knew you weren't gonna be first ballot. You ain't got no bowls, and you only went to one. I'll put it this way: you'll get in when Jim Plunkett gets in. Plunkett is a 2-time Super Bowl champion. Was he MVP in one? I think he was a Super Bowl MVP, and I don't even think he got consideration. Plunkett gonna have to wait till he be one of those elder statesman votes. So, do I think you should get in over Jim Plunkett? No, I think y'all should go in at the same time. Jay Gruden is talking shit. Well, not talking shit, but he suggested Hard Knocks just offered the Skins the opportunity to be on Hard Knocks. He said, no, the Raiders will be a better team. Another coach said that a couple of months ago. Like, what the fuck do y'all? I understand with Antonio Brown and Gruden and Vontaze Burfict and now Richie Incognito. I don't know what was up with that signing. I mean, the dude can't block, but he been known to fuck up some shit. He been known to be a problem in your locker room. So as a Raider fan, it's all just wait and see at this point. All just wait and see. But Gruden already said he didn't want to be up there, so they'll just have to just pick a team, man. If they tell you no, just move on. Don't be trying to put other teams. Don't be trying to put other teams on Hard Knocks, because usually those teams don't end up with a good year, and they usually sorrier teams because the good teams don't want all that shit around them. So what you need to do is become a better team, so you won't even be in consideration. Any other NFL news? Hell no. That was it on that one. What was it, 2 weeks ago or a week ago? Wilder knocked the shit out of this dude Brazil, and it was nasty. He put something on that chin that was woof. Yeah, his ears flopping like alfalfa from the goddamn little rascals. Woof, that was a hell of a punch, but that's what he does, knock motherfuckers out. So, hey. And Anthony Joshua has a fight today against some chubby Mexican dude, though. Like, if you seen this dude, you'd be like, man, he did not have the physique for this shit. And he got a couple of knockouts, but he ain't got no knockouts against no names. And Anthony Joshua will probably dispatch of him quickly. And he might not, because he is a Mexican fighter, and Mexican fighters are tough as fuck. So, ones that actually grew up in Mexico. So, but they're fighting in the U.S., which is something that he complained about when people were trying to get the Deontay Wilder fight. So you won't come over to the States to fight Wilder for possibly, your biggest payday. But you'll come over here to fight some flabby Mexican. Like, man, get the fuck out of here, man. Stop ducking that man and give him the fight that he deserves, man. Cut it the fuck out. I watched the Alexander Gustafsson fight yesterday. He got tapped out and he retired. And if it wasn't for John Jones, Gustafsson would have been, one of those light heavyweights that would have been left in memory. He's probably one of the best fighters to not win a championship. And it was crazy because he's a hell of a fighter. And I'm gonna get into him and John Jones fight. And if it was, like I said, if it wasn't for John Jones, he would have had the belt and he would have had it for a little bit. But shout out to him. I hope all is well as he continues on. Which got me thinking some of my favorite UFC fights, and some of them were uh, Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz. Both of them just picked one. They were both good. It was good to see somebody stand up to Conor McGregor, be able to take those punches because I thought the Jose Aldo fight was going to be good. It wasn't. It was quick. He fucked him up. PDQ, pretty damn quick for those who don't know, and that's it. Just wasn't it. Now I think that Aldo should have went for a rematch, but the fact that he didn't just shows how much dynamite he put on that chin when he knocked him out. But that Diaz McGregor fight, 1 and 2, they went at it. Good fights. Chael Sonnen versus Anderson Silva won. Chael Sonnen talked shit like none other. He was one of the best trash talkers in sports. Fuck the UFC. He one of the best trash talkers in sports. And I thought once he retired that he would have an extraordinary career in the WWE, but he said he never wanted to do it. So, and that fight was crazy because he was talking cash shit about Silva, and he was dominating the fight. And when he took him to the ground and Silva submitted him, it was a shock to everybody because Silva was getting ready to lose the fight. Like he was losing the fight like easily, handily. Sonny was taking over and doing his thing. But for him to just out of nowhere pull the tap out and then Sonny tried to act like he didn't tap, he gave like 2 taps and then tried to move his hand like the ref didn't see it. But we all saw it. You tapped and you lost. Dan Henderson versus Mauricio Shogun Hua. This was just a great fight between two stand-up fighters. How this shit went to a decision is just a testament to those guys' will and their chins. And it was just a great fight to watch. You know me. I'm gonna hit you with these top fives. Um, Jones, John Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson won. That was good. It was the same thing like Rua and Henderson, but more on a skillful level. Because these two guys, Gustafson and Jones, they are very skillful with their stand-up game and their strikes. And it was just a great thing to watch. And like I didn't feel bad that Gustafson lost, but I was like, damn, somebody gotta lose. And then you have Clay Guido versus Diego Sanchez. These two motherfuckers went at it like it was just a 1 round fight. Like they were just fighting. It was like a fight for the death. They were going the fuck at it. And shout out to Diego Sanchez. This right here pretty much was the pinnacle of his career because when he tried to fight more skilled fighters, that shit ain't work. So, but he showed something fighting, Clay Guido, and this was Clay Guido shining moment too. But it was a hell of a fight to watch. And when you have the good, you also have the bad. These are the 5 worst knockouts I've ever seen in UFC history. Number one, Lyoto Machida versus Randy Couture. Randy Couture, Captain America, old dude who still had enough in him to win a belt or two, handle himself at light heavyweight and heavyweight. But Machida hit him with the crane kick from the crane kick from Karate Kid and knocked an old man out. It was just bad to watch because he crumbled like shit. Next, we have the 2 knockouts from Ronda Rousey. First, the Holly Holmes kick was that shit was picturesque. Yeah, she put her ass down, and Amanda Nunes beat her up like a man. Like Amanda Nunes put them paws on her. I spoke on it before, but god damn, rewatch it because it was something else. Number 3, I got Gabriel Gonzalez versus Mirko Cro Cop. Now, a lot of people try to dispel and try to downplay Pride and try to say it won't shit. They was throwing fights and it was a bullshit company, but it wasn't. They put sauce and they had the popular fights before UFC did. All right. They had the people that UFC went and got to build their brand up. So, and then Pride, Cro Cop was kicking the shit out of everybody. I think he had about 5 or 6 knockouts by head kicks in a row. But when he finally decided to come to UFC and he fought the chubby Gabriel Gonzaga kicked him in the head and knocked Crow Cop the fuck out, which was one of the most shocking knockouts that I've seen. And I put this above the Anderson Silva knockout because Anderson Silva was playing. He deserved to get tagged and all that other shit. It wasn't, it didn't take that much skill. This one did. For you to head kick and knock out a dude who was a hell of a kickboxer, that was sauce. And Crow Cop, he ain't been the same. He wasn't the same since then. Next, we got Anderson Silva versus Vito Belfort. That's the fight that most of you know that Anderson Silva gave him a swift kick in the face, in the front of the face. Silva had saw this opening for a while, and when he dropped his hands, I said he getting ready to do some shit, and he did. He put the front of his foot right on his nose and scored that knock. And last but not least, this is by far the worst knockout I've ever seen in UFC, and probably one of the worst knockouts I had ever seen in fighting. Probably mentioned this before, but I haven't put this in list form, but this is the one. Dan Henderson versus Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping, good fighter, just recently retired as the champ in the middleweight division. Like, hell of a fighter, man. Good stand-up game, better wrestling than people give him credit for, better ground game than people give him credit for. But he's known for those hands. And Dan Henderson, you heard it in the Rua fight, he can punch like shit. So, and this, like, everybody saw it. Joe Rogan even called it out. I don't know why, but Bisping kept circling to the left. And Henderson didn't capitalize on it. I think he wanted Bisping to think that he wasn't going to throw a strong right, just a regular jab and things of that nature. But when he finally decided that the throw, the looping haymaker, that he kicked his leg up to get torque for it, he popped that leg up and swung that overhand right that he grabbed from the Gulf of Mexico and knocked Bisping the fuck out. He knocked him out so bad he fell and he was knocked out. It wasn't like some UFC knockouts where people get knocked down and they still got a chance to cover up. Bisping fell and he didn't cover shit. He was done. And then the ref wasn't paying attention, and Henderson jumped in the air and laid a forearm right on Bisping's head. Then came the referee. This knockout was so bad. I had a friend of mine who was watching the fight with me. He said, "Why you got me watching this shit, Dean? This shit is brutal. This shit worse than hardcore wrestling." Shout out to Rome. But that was the worst one, and he deserved it because he had been talking shit on top of the fact that he just kept circling left, which was an asinine idea. I just did not get why he was doing that shit. But that's our podcast for today. Thank you for joining. If you join live or if you catch the video later, much appreciated, much obliged. Be easy, be you. I'm out.